Hi guys, Arthur here from Homeowner DIY. In this video, I'm going to be rerouting a downspout for a gutter. Now the complaint is water spilling over the corner of the gutter with the gutter guard. I think what's happening is that there's too much volume of water going down the valley that you guys will see in a moment. But in my opinion, gutters, it's a DIY job. I think it's a branch of roofing. It's not a trade in itself. But, I mean, even if things go catastrophically wrong, it's just going to dump out onto a roof anyway. So, you know, roll the dice and take your chances. But with that in mind, we'll look at our setup. Alright guys, so here's our setup. Draw a line from here, we have a downspout. So from here we have another downspout. The problem is this big area of water plus our downspout here is spilling over here. It's not happening right now, but there's also gutter guards. There's a mesh to keep pine needles, leaves, and everything else out of the gutters. Well, it's such a fine screen that I think part of the problem is that the granules from the shingles, and this roof is brand new, the granules from the shingles is starting to clog up the gutter guard. So the plan will be is I want to move this right into the middle of the window, and then we'll come straight down into the gutter, and that is going to bring all of this water from this here over straight into the gutter, and the diverter here will have half the work to do. So with that in mind, we'll do material and tools. All right, this is the materials list. So I have one length of 3-inch 10-foot downspout. I cut this down because I couldn't fit it into the car, but I also tried to take an educated guess at what I would need for a piece, so I'm going to be close. I've got 2 boxes of number 8 by 1-inch brass screws. The reason I'm using brass is because there's no iron in it, so it's not going to rust. We got gutter straps, and then I have a couple 90s. So this is one style of 90, this is the other style of 90. And then I have 3/4 galvanized strapping. I don't know if I'm going to need this, but I'll strap down the downspout into the gutter if I need to. So guys, with galvanized, the idea is that it's going to resist rusting. But like anything else in life, it's not going to last forever. Guys, this is what I need for material on this job. So what we'll do now is a tools list. Alright guys, this is the tools list. So I have a 2-foot level. I have my pouch. So for hand tools, measuring tape, small level, screwdrivers, whatever I might need. For safety equipment, safety glasses, earplugs, and then I have my cordless kit. So I believe I only need the grinder and impact, but we'll see how this goes. Guys, this is the tools list for this job, so let's get started. Alright, so I made a mark here, and I've made a mark here, so that's going to go right in the middle of the window. So I've drawn a plumb line. So the idea is that this is going to be like this. Now I want the right side here to be lower than the corner of the window there. So what I'm going to do now is for the vertical downspout around the corner over here, I'm going to take it out, and then I'm going to figure out where I need to cut it. So the idea will be to 90 out, 90 around, and then we're going to continue in front of this wooden siding here. Alright, so if dry fit the 90 on, we see the big gap here is something like, I don't know, 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is for the vertical downspout, before I cut it, I'm going to also slide it back. Now keep in mind, looking at this here, you're not going to really notice anything from the ground, but because of what they have going on here, this needs to be a lot tighter. This here also is not visible from the street, so I'll move the vertical portion back, I'll re-strap it in, and then I'm going to get this down here closer to the end, closer to the wall here. Alright guys, I just noticed something here. So this piece goes into the 90, this piece goes on the outside of the 90, and then this bottom piece here went up into the 90. This is all backwards. The reason this is dripping here is because the 90 should be on the outside, so they flipped this all around. Oh my god. And this is a roofing contractor doing this, but the reason that this is dripping is because this has been done backwards. Alright, so the 90 they put in backwards. So the smaller end that is crinkled here should go into here. because this is on the outside here, water is going to start dripping off the side, and it's already happening. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it upon myself to fix it for the homeowner, because this is done backwards. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this, flip the 90 around. So even the screw here, there is no material for the drain in the gutter. But what I'll do is I'll flip this around, and then we'll come back when this is in the proper orientation. So you see the big gaping hole? That is where the other screw was put in. So the screw wasn't doing anything. So instead of replacing this broken piece, they just threw it back together. I mean, I think it was a roof job and not a gutter job, but I mean, I would personally like to think that you're going to offer the homeowner the option of going ahead and replacing deteriorating material just like that. Alright, so this is the line of where I'm going to cut for the vertical portion of the downspout. I did not measure anything out, I just eyed this out. It's a really awkward area to work, so it's tough to film on your own. But anyways, I'm going to take a grinder, I'm going to cut this line, and then I'm going to bevel the burrs off after I'm done. Guys, make sure that you have earplugs and safety glasses on. Alright guys, I realized I never showed in the video how I crinkle the end like this here. So here's a 90 that I'm going to return. It's an extra. But you notice how the ends are both the same. Now, I crinkled this a little bit to get it to fit. The idea is that one end needs to be smaller than the other, so it would fit in like this. But this is the way I did it for my video. Now, I'm sure there is a tool for this job. I don't have it, and I don't do gutters enough to warrant me buying a tool. So to get this here, what I did was I took my nail nose pliers. I went probably about 3/4 of an inch up, and then I went back and forth, create a seam on both sides of the nail nose pliers, and then I pushed in like that. Next one. Okay, so we have the end crinkled in, and then push the ends in together. And then from here, with a little bit of persuasion. Okay, and that's what it looks like. So the bottom is always going to fit over the top. You don't do it like this, like I stated in the video, because the water is just going to run out. So the top will always fit into the bottom, and that is the way it's going to go down. But guys, that is my simple way to crinkle the end of the gutter to get it to fit. So once again, just pinch the two sides, but you need to crimp these ends in. Like I said, I'm sure there's a tool for this. I don't have it because I'm a DIYer. Okay, so this pencil mark is the center of the window. This was a wrong mark by me. Anyways, so what I'm going to do is, the idea is I want the 90 dead smack in the middle of the line, and that's going to carry from the window above it. So what I've done here is this, I just held this in place, and then at this end over here, I made a mark of where I'm going to cut. If you're a little bit off, remember, you can always shuffle this back and forth. No one is going to see how far this has gone into this. Now, you'll get like an extra ½ inch here and there. Just try to still be as accurate as possible. Alright, so I've made a mark right there. It's 4 inches from the end. So it doesn't matter really how far off the end that you go, but measure off the end. If you want to do 6, go ahead and do 6, and then do 6 on the other side. The idea is that it's going to look symmetrical, and that's what people like to see. Alright, so this is also why I went to 1-inch screws. They'll give you more play if you're going to be a little bit off the wall, which I'll show you in just a moment. Alright, so you see how the gap opens up a little bit. So the idea with the screws is, if you're going to be a little bit further away like I am over here, you see the gap. The 1-inch screws will give you enough play that you're still going to catch solid material to secure your downspout too. So for each fitting to pipe, I put 1 screw in on the side. It doesn't matter which side that you put it on for the fittings or the pipe. If it drips, it'll just drip downward and it'll mount to absolutely nothing. But again, don't overthink this. Just make sure that you strap it in well. Even though the pipe here is going to be protected from the wall from the wind, because the wind comes from the west. But I have the last piece and I need to put on, so we'll take a look and show you what we got. Alright, so that leaf right there is the center of where I'm going to come down. So once again, I said that this is a brand new roof. You already see all the granules here that's starting to plug up the screen, and that's a contributing factor to why there is this spillage issue even with this diverter. So what I'm going to do is I'll put the 90 here, I'll trace it out, and then I'll mark it out. One thing I also don't like is you have a keyway right here. So this is the end of the shingle, and this is the next one. Well, you're so close to the valley here that I think they should have been farther away. But I'm a DIYer, not a professional roofer. Okay, so I've cut the bottom and the top here. With the grinder. The disc is too big. I don't want to hit this here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this with some tin snips. So it's a steel screen because it did spark when I cut this. Alright, so this is it. So I strapped the strap. It's tight here. I put this piece in. And what this is going to do is now from this area here all the way over, because there's another downspout on the other side, all of this is going to get carried straight down into the gutter here. So the problem was before was this water was coming down the valley and then it was hitting this this diverter. In my opinion, this screen it's too fine. The hole should be bigger. If the granules are not getting into the gutter, then that's what's going to be the issue. But what we'll do is we'll take a quick look from the bottom. Alright, so we're coming down, and in the middle of the window, everything looks good. There is this tree here behind me, but if you looked at it from the street, I have essentially just taken this line and drawn it straight down, and I'm hoping that it's going to address this issue. Once again, this half here is now being diverted straight into the gutter instead of coming down the valley here and spilling over the side. So with that in mind, we'll do an overview of this job. Alright guys, so that concludes this job. So remember, whenever you're picking up off an upper roof, you're adding an extra volume of water to a lower gutter. I don't know what the code is for sizing, but I always recommend to hard pipe directly into a lower gutter. Don't leave a 90 that is at the top of another roofing section and have that water come down. It's going to erode your shingles faster, and it's also going to turn green and just not look good. But I'm hoping here that by repiping it into the lower gutter, that is going to eliminate the overflow of water. Now, another problem here is the screen is so fine that even the granules off the shingles don't go into the gutter. So what is going to happen is it's going to create a bridge, and water is going to start to come off the side of the gutter because it's not actually going into the gutter. Even leaves will create a bridge, and it'll be a while for them to break apart. So when it comes to gutter guards, I think this screen here specifically is just simply too fine. The time on the job. The time was an hour and a half. The lower section of roof was a 412 pitch, so it was easy to work on. Everything was relatively accessible, so I didn't run into any issues. The cost of this job. The cost was about $40, so that is the downspout material, screws, strapping, 90s, and then anything else that I use. This is not an expensive job. It's a simple thing to do. Gutters, I don't even think is technically a trade in itself. I think it's just a branch of roofing, but this is DIY friendly. If anything goes wrong, it's not even a big deal in itself. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I hope the ideas I brought here will help you if you have a spillage issue with your own gutters. Guys, till next time, please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next project.